This is Russell Lockhart, and welcome to Real Perspective. Today we're going to talk about the Barbie movie. Barbie. Like the toy we used to play with. Well, not us.
I don't. You were playing with. Okay.
I had G.I. Joe.
Oh, you had G.I. Joe. Okay.
The big G.I. Joe. The big manly G.I. Joe, not the little one about the stick.
Yeah.
The big manly G.I. Joe that had the scars and all that stuff. So, yeah, I played with G.I. Joe, not Barbie. Okay. However, my sisters played with Barbies. Mm-hmm. Had a lot of friends that played with Barbies. So, yes, today we'll be talking about the Barbie movie.
Now, just to preamble this, the Barbie movie is now over about almost $1 billion something dollars in the United States. No, we're not doing a pre-review prior to this because there's some controversy, some discussion that has gone on about the Barbie movie in the Christian community, and we're going to address that after. But we're going to have Russell. He went in and he actually went and watched this movie. And, of course, I come at it from a not watching standpoint. That way he can tell me all about it. Anyway, but, okay, get ready. What we're going to do is we're going to show you first the trailer for the Barbie movie. Here it is.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Put the radio blast and goes cruising just as fast as she can now.
I thought I might stay over tonight.
Why?
Because we're girlfriend, boyfriend.
To do what?
I'm actually not sure.
It's you and fun, 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 fun. It's you and fun, 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 fun. It's you and fun, 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 fun.
Okay, ladies, let's do this.
It's you and fun, fun.
What are you doing here?
I'm coming with you.
Did you bring your rollerblades?
I literally go nowhere without them. Oh, looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Ken. If I wasn't severely injured, I would beach you off right now, Ken. I'll beach off with you any day, Ken.
Anyone who wants to beach him off has to beach me off first.
I will beach both of you off at the same time. Beach both of us off?
Nobody's gonna beach anyone off.
Okay, Russell, in that trailer at the end, and I know we have a lot of Christian people that are watching the show and that type of thing, and there was some innuendo going on at the beach.
Yes.
And this was, my very first question, this is not a little kid. Little girls.
Again, we talk about this all the time. It's PG-13.
Yes.
Which means it's good for 13 and above.
Okay.
Again, if you don't want your 13 or 14-year-old to see it, that's up to you. Be the parent, and that's all there is to it. But it is not for little kids.
Okay.
And maybe a couple of the humor will fly over their heads, but there's enough that I wouldn't have been comfortable taking a 7.
Yeah, they were taking the word and they were going and innuendo, that type of thing with it. And that's, to us, that would be inappropriate. Christians wouldn't probably go for that, I would think, especially for little children. But okay, so it is PG-13. Russell, give us your review.
Absolutely. So this is truly about Barbie. Margot Robbie, which I absolutely adore. I think she's just such a great actress and wonderful person. She plays Barbie. We also have Ryan Gosling, who plays Ken. There's a lot of other actors and actresses. Will Ferrell has a place in there, and what I love, Michael Cera plays Alan, which is an inside joke of a character or a doll that they produced in the 60s that did not sell very well. It was Midge's husband, and just slowly disappeared. Just real quick, they didn't do very well. And then I think it was the 90s, maybe 80s, they released it again. Same thing, didn't sell. So you had this one lone Alan character amongst bunch of Kens and a bunch of Barbies, and he's just like, I want to get out of here. No one likes me here. That's kind of what kind of humor you're getting from him. Same thing. You have Kate McKinnon, she's a pretty funny actress. She plays Weird Barbie. Now, Weird Barbie is the quintessential Barbie that the little kid cuts her hair and does a makeup on and makes it really look like ugly. Just mars it up.
Okay.
And she's this weird Barbie that's just sitting over there with her hair all short and frizzy and just makeup all over and just arms going out this way and twisted around. It really is a fun movie for that stuff, for seeing that. I didn't particularly like it. Now, it wasn't geared towards me.
No.
Okay, just say that at the very beginning. Again, we talked about, we didn't play with Barbies, we played with G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of G.I. Joe shorts and movies and everything that they did to G.I. Joe because that brought me back to my childhood. Same thing with Toy Story. Toy Story brought us back to our childhood with the cowboy and all these different things. Well, this is a lot of women out there remember their childhood and playing with Barbie. That's who this is geared towards. So, I don't know if us guys can get it as well as the women can. And I think that's the point. This is a women's movie. Couple of things that I liked. I really liked a lot of the inside jokes. I liked a lot of the stuff like that. I liked that they had Rhea Perlman from where she was.
Rhea Perlman. Danny DeVito's estranged wife.
Yes, she played Ruth Handler. She was kind of a ghost in the Barbie world.
Okay.
But she's Ruth Handler. Ruth Handler again was the founder, the creator of Barbie. So she really kind of puts a little bit of a nice little bow on this whole movie. It's some of the stuff that she says. And I like the theme of the movie for the most part. It's all about, we created Barbie so that girls can know they can be anything in this world. They can be an astronaut. They can be this. There's limitless things that they can be. I liked all of that. One of the things that I didn't like, and we talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
I think we do this in movies all the time, whether it be male movies or female movies. Men, we do these movies, and they're like big macho movies, and women are bimbos. That's how we portray them.
Yeah.
In this one, it's Barbie, Ken, and all them are all dummies. They're idiots.
Okay.
That, to me, didn't have to go that route. It just kind of like that it puts a lot of tension on relationships anyway. And in these days, we have enough problems in this world. I don't see why we want to make that tension in marriages and relationships and just all over male versus female. But overall, I liked it, but I didn't love it. But it was a fun inside the world of Barbie. Now, part of the storyline is this: Barbie she loses her shoes, and she realizes that her feet are flat, and she's starting to be messed up. So she was told by Weird Barbie, you need to go to the real world and find the girl that was playing with you and figure out why she's doing this to you. So she has to go find this. It's kind of a little bit like the Toy Story, where you're seeing out of the fourth wall, you're seeing the person that's playing with them.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about. And in her trek in the real world, she's disillusioned. And so it's just a lot of stuff like that. I think overall it's I think the women, you guys are going to love this. If you played with Barbies at a time, I think you're going to like that because it plays on that, and it plays on the nostalgia.
Yeah.
A little bit of things in there that aren't, they're PG-13.
Yeah.
So, and I've heard a lot of women, several women rather, that took their child to it, little child, 6, 7, 8 years old, and walked out. And I get that. This is not for little kids. This is if you have a daughter and you guys are, reminiscing about playing with Barbies, and y'all are both old enough where you don't play with Barbies anymore. This is a movie for you guys because it's going to give you the inside thing. It's going to give you the little jokes that you know about, and the little things that you probably laughed about as a teenager and an adult.
Okay.
So that's my take on it. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think most guys are going to like this. If they are, they're going to get pulled to the movie and see it because of their wives, because of their girlfriend,
Yeah.
because they're taking their teenage daughter to see it. But it's not a guy movie, and it is for women.
Okay.
And I have to preface that because I don't want to give you the indication that it's a horrible movie. It probably isn't. It's just horrible for me. It wasn't. my type of movie.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I stand with that.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so I'm going to do a little reminiscing. Now, they did make G.I. Joe movies.
Yes, they did.
G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe, what was that? The other one, I can't remember.
They had Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes that they did with that. So there are G.I. Joe movies out there. They're more action packed. That's kind of like Die Hard.
I Hard for kids, and I watched those with my little boy.
Yeah.
When he was younger.
Yeah. And so there are G.I. Joe movies over there. Now, okay. So point taken, not for little kids.
Right.
Woman takes kid, starts seeing and listening to some of this innuendo, probably the beach scene, and said, whoa, I don't want my kid to be listening to stuff like that.
Exactly.
And so they take it out. So, okay. Now, what I'm going to do, Russell, right now, what we're going to do is, and I showed you this clip before, we're going to go ahead and show you all the beginnings. This is the beginning scene of the Barbie movie. So I'm going to go ahead and pause right now. We're going to play that for them on here. Here you go.
Since the beginning of time, since the first little girl ever existed, there have been dolls. But the dolls were always and forever baby dolls. Until...
Okay, so this particular scene, all those little girls, they're playing with their dolls and stuff like this. Now, from what we understand in moviedom, that was kind of reminiscent of what movie?
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Okay, we have all that music, that type of thing.
No.
Okay, yeah,
No.
and the thing here is that in 2001: A Space Odyssey, there were a bunch of apes there. Okay, from what my understanding was.
Yes.
And they saw a bone or something like that up at the top. They were enlightened, and then so they started taking the bone and killing a bunch of apes. Okay, that was what 2001: Space Odyssey was about.
Not all about, but that was.
But I mean, that was the funny. That
was
was the beginning lead off. Now, the thing that we get from the Barbie movie is that these girls all of a sudden have a vision of the giant Barbie, which is Margot Robbie, right?
Margot Robbie, yeah.
Okay. And so they began to know that these girls are playing with little baby dolls. We're talking about baby dolls,
Right.
And so what they do is they take it up there, as we've seen, and they smash, one of them smashes the Barbie and breaks it all in pieces, shatters it in pieces. Another one throws it up in the air, and then all of a sudden it becomes Barbie. In other words, so let me ask you a question. What is that trying to say something? What is that saying to us?
I took it as this. It was saying that we played with Barbie, or girls played with babies. They had dolls from the very beginning, and when Barbie came out, it broke the mold. And I think that's kind of what it was talking about. Kids wanted to have this role model that they saw, and it was not just a baby. Yeah, they had the baby dolls, and a lot of people that I knew that played with Barbies, they played with baby dolls.
Sure.
But
Okay.
it was saying that they turned away from the baby dolls to be with the Barbie, the new Barbie.
Mhm.
I think it also was, if you want to go deeper into it, kind of maybe that the cells smashed the Barbies, the baby dolls, because Barbie cells have always been so high, rather
Okay.
than baby dolls for a while.
Okay.
But
And
yeah,
and
I
that's
think
fair. That's fair. Taking a look at that now. We in Christendom, there is a gentleman, and I sent you. We talked about this particular video.
Right.
There's a gentleman in Christendom. His name is Jonathan Cahn. He wrote a book called Return of the Gods. This particular book talks about how that in America, there's three entities or spiritual entities or demonic spirits for that matter. We talk about the prince of power of the air, that type of thing. And now we're talking Christendom here at this point, so hopefully y'all can understand what we're saying. Now the thing here is that he says that there are three particular spirits that have come back into America and have kind of the way things have gone in this country, they have been the driving force behind it.
Right.
One is Baal, and that Baal basically drove the anti-God type of thrust in our country. Get rid of the Ten Commandments, get rid of all this, prayer in the schools, and all this type of thing. Then they said that the other god is Moloch. Moloch is the one responsible. They would pass their children through and sacrifice their little kids to Moloch. Just a real quick, I don't want to get too much into it, but what would happen is they would take these gods back in ancient, during the days of ancient Israel and all that, and they would take this particular idol, they would heat it up until it was so hot that they would come and they would sacrifice their babies. They would take the baby, they would lay the baby in the arms of the idol, and it would disintegrate. It was so hot.
Yeah.
God told Israel, if you do that, he says, you will be cut off and he will send judgment on you. The other thing is it said, if you see this happening and don't do anything about it, or you let it happen, you're going to suffer for that as well.
Right.
Okay. Moloch. The other one is Ishtar. Ishtar, Ashtaroth. They're interchangeable depending upon the ancient. I think Ishtar was more Egyptian, but anyway. So what Jonathan Cahn has come forward here, and this is quite the thing. Charisma Magazine has something on it. There's a videotape making its way around YouTube and all this. Is that the Barbie movie is kind of joining with Ishtar. Now, Ishtar, you got to understand what Ishtar is. Ishtar is the god or god, because this particular god entity can change its sex.
Right.
And so the thrust behind that is that this particular spiritual entity or demonic spirit, whatever you want to call it, is behind the drive for transgenderism, and the LGBTQ and all this type of thing like this. And so the thing here is Jonathan Cahn, he took on Barbie. He said the fact that Hollywood could take that doll and turn it into an attack on half the human race, on marriage, on life itself, is a sign of just how sickened our culture has become. He feels that this particular doll was an attack on, let me just get it real quick here. I don't want to go to read this whole thing, but it was an attack against marriage. It was an attack on motherhood. It was an attack on men because men are stupid, and that women are they do not need men. They can do everything themselves. They don't need men. One of the things that was said, and I'm just going to say these things, whether we agree with it, disagree, whatever, I have to agree, whatever. Ishtar, back in the ancient days, had a boyfriend that she traveled with, or that was with her, and he was emasculated. And then that comparison is made to Ken. he's emasculated because he's always trying to, he's the weak one in the relationship, if there is even a relationship for that matter. Another thing here that we see is, and the fact that the women are all inclusive, they don't need men. Let me ask you this: was there a transgender character in this movie?
Not that I saw.
Was there a gay character?
Not that I saw.
Okay.
If there was, it was a backdrop, but other than that, they didn't really follow.
Okay, so there was no, right in your face type of situation.
No.
Okay, so here, my thing with this is that, and then he goes back into, and I'm just seeing this, goes back into the creation of Barbie. Barbie was created and fashioned, the doll itself was fashioned after a sex doll in Germany.
It was a doll, a sex doll. It was supposed to be a streetwalker in Germany, so the doll was fashioned out. She said, I like the doll, but I want that to be opposite of that, which is I want women to be what they want to be and show that they can do this. And it was fashioned after the doll.
Yeah.
It didn't mean that it followed what they did.
A
lot of the toys that we have were, Silly Putty was made for one reason and actually
it turned into another. Yeah.
We have different things like that.
Now, what builds into this particular discussion and what he's saying is that there was an agenda behind the movie.
I didn't see an agenda at all per se. Again, the only thing that I saw, and again, I think all of Hollywood's guilty of it, both sides, male and female, is, when you lift up one, you
break down the other. And yes, and we know for a fact. Do you remember the movie Roadhouse?
Yes.
Okay, no, that's definitely not something you'd want to recommend to your kids. Anyway, but then the girls were all they were good for is one thing.
Yeah.
And then the other one that was in there, I remember the one that she was just as ditzy and stupid as you could, imagine, just like, you see a lot of that. And frankly, it's degrading to anybody, whether it's a female or a male.
Yeah.
But what did you say? That's all I want you to comment on this. All right. Do you think that there could be an agenda here that was anti-family? Now, the thing is we show this beginning scene with the kid crushing down and breaking apart that baby. Could that be, she said, that imagery for a little child, to see that would be that a baby can be crushed. A baby is not worth it, and so it can be thrown away. It's the thing is, and of course the push towards abortion. That's where it's.
So I don't see any of that. And again, if you're taking your 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, you see this, you shouldn't, because it is PG-13.
Yeah.
But one, they used the 2001 Space Odyssey and did the same thing. At least they didn't have them beating each other over the head with the dolls.
Yeah.
I don't think it was, pro-abortion or anti-family. To me, it was just, we were playing with baby dolls that presented one thing, but now I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
They were.
You're not playing with
and then Barbie came along and changed that.
Yeah.
I think that it broke the mold. It wasn't a baby doll. It was the first time that we had the girls had a doll that wasn't, a baby. It was something that they can aspire to grow up to be like.
Yeah.
And that's what Ruth wanted to do, is to create these different characters that said, who says that a woman can't be an astronaut? Who says a woman can't be a president?
Mm-hmm.
It is very uplifting. One of the things that they said in there was I'm glad we made the Barbie because it shows kids, little girls, they can be anything in this world.
Okay.
Never did I see anything that said, because they talked about, what if I want a family? Do it. Then there was not an anti-family. It was pretty well laid out as women can be what they want to be.
Okay.
Now, if they don't want a family, that's up to them. There's women throughout history that
Didn't want to
played
find
their
it.
own role.
Yeah.
I've known a lot of wonderful women that said, I've never wanted to be a mom.
Okay.
And from the time that I was 16 years old, I wanted to be a dad.
Mhm.
I wanted to be a husband and a dad so bad. You know, I wanted
Yeah.
what my parents had. So that was the path I took, but I knew other people that took different paths.
Yes.
There was one particular girl that I dated that was that way. I wanted to go this way. I wanted a family. She didn't.
She didn't.
She didn't. And so we never dated again.
Okay.
It was that kind of thing. It just, there are different people that spin this world around, and I think that's okay.
Okay.
There's not everybody's
So-
meant to be a
so-
spouse or mom or dad.
Yeah. So the theme and what you're taking from this is that, listen, ladies, you can be anything that you want to be.
Yeah.
And and the thing is that you don't allow others, whether it be men. Were men the enemy in this movie?
Yeah, it was kind of both ways. So again, what I didn't like is that when Ken went to the real world, he came back and he was macho, and they turned the dream house into a bachelor pad with beer. Keep thinking about this: beer, wine, they had that, but there was nothing in the cup. You drink the beer, you drink it, and it wasn't anything in there. But in fact, one of the funny scenes I thought was great was when they went to the real world and someone hands Barbie a glass of water or tea or something, and she goes like this, and it's all over her. And she's, I didn't expect anything to come out. Because those are the kind of jokes they did, because they did more.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff is
Yeah.
funny.
But they made Ken like, oh, I'm Mr. Macho, and they had all the guys take over the Barbie the house and turn it into a bachelor pad and all these different things. So they were showing that they were with the women. It wasn't like they were showing them like where they were anti-family and things. But one of the things that I didn't care for was it was like Ken was dismissed, and we talked about that where it was like he's going after Barbie, going, Barbie, I just want to be your boyfriend, and she's going, what's that? And or what does that entail? What is this? What are we talking about? And she's just totally innocent. I think that was the kind of thinking that a little girl would have, where a little girl would go, I've got Ken and Barbie. And most little 6, 7, 8-year-olds are not going to go, we're going to be kissing. They're not going to do that. They do that later.
Well, little girls don't think about it. You would think that little children like that at that age or this small age would not even be thinking.
So it's Ken and it's Barbie. And then they played with Barbie. That was a joke in there. I think they went a little bit too far. But at the same time, not doing any spoilers, I guess, she apologizes to him. So it's not like this whole attack on the family or anything like that. As far as I could see, I didn't take it that way. And like I said, I am a big critic of the movie because I didn't care for it as much. But again, I didn't see any of that.
Okay. There is through the years, there has been, well, I'm just going to say it, the Christian community over the years has had to vilify something.
Yeah.
And the thing here is that, we are to be of sober mind. If we're reading our Bible, if we're plugged into God, we need to be sober minded. And when it comes to things like this, we have to weigh them. But you can't read things in. Now, Jonathan Cahn has the book, Return of the Gods. It's a great book. I've read it and listened to the audio to it, and we've talked about it on other shows. But the thing here is that, with that premise, and you have to keep on finding something.
Yeah.
Because there are individuals, and I'm not saying that Jonathan is, whether his opinion on that, he took it one way. Here's the thing. When I first got married, my wife and I first got married, I had a very big trouble with the board at the church that we were in.
Yeah.
The reason, because, we were all sitting around one day and we were talking about marriage and relationships. And I said, I believe that it should be 50-50 in the marriage. Boy, did I get a thrashing. Now, this is back in 1986, to remind you, because I'll show you how old I am. Anyway, but the thing is that whole mindset that this is the way it has to be.
Yeah.
Women should be this. They should be taking care of, doing housework, taking care of kids, and that in the house, barefoot and pregnant. I remember that whole situation there.
Yeah.
And in the house, and men should be the breadwinners and all that. We do that. Okay, and so you're coming at it with that kind of attitude and that kind of mindset, then you're going to try to find things wrong here. A woman can't be home. She shouldn't be having a career. She should be in the house.
And quite honestly, I think that was a time that, my mom stayed home until the last of us, my baby sister, went to school. Mm-hmm. And then mom she was working at the school as, doing, the cafeteria.
Yeah.
And then she was off of work, in time for the kids to get home.
Sure.
I think that kind of, and not to put any women down, I'm not doing that at all. I'm not saying you have to stay home. Mm-hmm. I think that our kids were more secure back then.
Yeah.
But I don't care who stays home. I think if we could get to a one paycheck, one earner in the household, I think as a family unit we'd be better off. Whether the father stays home or the mom stays home.
Mr. Mom.
I actually know several guys that stayed home.
Yeah.
I knew a couple that they were having to do 2 paychecks. They worked at IBM, and it was he would work at second shift and she worked first shift because they didn't want babysitters.
Yeah.
So they didn't want somebody else raising their kids. So it did that. They did that for a long time, and it worked.
Okay.
But it was tough for their family because they
see
each other.
that's their story.
That's their
Everybody
story.
has
Everybody
a
has
different.
My mom loved staying home with the kids.
Yes.
Absolutely loved. But that may be a bygone days. It could be. And I'm not. If a woman wants to have a career, she should be able to have a career. If a guy wants to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom,
Mm-hmm.
or dad rather,
Give
he
Mr.
should be
Mom.
able to. Mr. Mom. I think that's okay for everyone. We just have to figure that out. But I think that our kids would be safer, and a lot of the stuff in this world wouldn't be happening right now if we had a family unit where somebody stayed home with the kids, or somebody was there when they came home from school, whether it be the father or the dad, an older brother, whatever, that stayed home and took care of them instead of being latchkey kids.
Yeah.
And I hated that term. I hate that term. But
That latchkey, but that's what it is. And there are different things, even in the, well, of course, but I've been married for about 37 years now with my wife. And the thing is, there were different stages. There were times she had to work as well. But then we raised the kids and all that, and then we had daycare, we had this type of thing. But then there come to a time where I'm working, she can stay at home. There's different types of things.
The coolest thing I ever saw, this is, my dad was a hero to me. So was my mom.
Uh-huh.
Both of them were. But I watched my mom, my dad didn't expect it, but my mom waited on my dad.
Okay.
She did the laundry. She did the cooking.
Sure.
She got up at 4:30 in the morning to make his lunch and his breakfast before he eat, and lunch for the day. And then he'd go and he'd work, and she took care of the kids, all this stuff. Years later, kids were out of the house. Everything was, they were about to retire. My mom got cancer.
Okay.
I saw the roles reversed. My dad cooked, he cleaned, he took care of my mom, he did all that stuff. That's a marriage that's 50-50. They chose to do that. She chose to stay home. He chose to work and sometimes work 2 jobs, but mostly just one most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But he did that to put food on the table.
Yes.
And they made that pact. That was their story.
Yes.
But again, when what they say, the rubber meets the road, he took care of her.
Yes.
And I thought that was the perfect marriage and the way it should be in all of our lives. Whether if somebody is, whether it be male or female, if something happens to them and they can't work for a while, somebody else has to pick it up.
Yeah.
And I've seen some wonderful. My wife did the same thing. She came down here to get married to me, and I got laid off from work. And that was a tough time for us. But we pulled together and we made it.
Yeah.
So it's just part of that. But I digress. But
no, the thing is
that's the thing.
with this movie, and we're talking about the movie and all that, is that it wasn't blatantly anti-family.
No, I mean you could take it that way, I guess, if you wanted to look for that. I didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
So it was talking about ladies, and they can be anything. And the thing is that yes, that's like I said, you get into that old mentality where you think that this is the way things should go for people.
Yeah.
Stop it, because I'm going to tell you what, that's not the way things happen in this
Exactly.
life. And but then from the other aspect, you think that, but they were not putting the family down. They were not, let's go get an abortion. Let's go, this type of thing that was really in your face of that type of thing.
Right.
We in the Christian church, we really have to avoid trying to jump on vilifying everything that's out there. If it's, I remember Pokemon. We were talking about that. I remember Pokemon. I went and saw that with the kids when they were little, and I went and saw the first movie. I thought it was cute. I thought it had a, kind of halfway decent message in it, that type of thing. And I didn't see anything wrong. But you go back to the church, and all these Pokemon represent demon spirits. No, okay. And then we laughed about the back. Remember back in the day with the backward masking of
Yes.
every album so they're going to play this record, so they get it on there. Yeah, let's play it backwards. All of a sudden you hear it. Man, didn't you hear it? I said, what? What? No, I didn't hear it. He said, what is that? It said praise Satan. I said, no, it didn't.
Yeah.
And the thing here is they're trying to vilify them. Be careful of that. There is not a demon under every rock. I'm not saying that some of these Hollywood people have, they are pro-abortion. They are anti-Trump. Yes, trust me.
And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of them in there that probably do more of a Satan type of thing.
Yeah.
But there could be Satanists in any walk of life.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you can have them anywhere. So you can have them out of Congress.
So it's just we get all up involved in that type of thing. I don't know. I mean, the thing is that yes, I do believe that there is spiritual aspect behind the things that we're seeing in our country today. But the thing here is it? I mean, did it invade the Barbie movie? I can't say that for 100% fact, and and neither should we. We have but we get sidetracked. Okay, we're going to jump on the Jonathan Kahn bandwagon here against Barbie, but we hardly pick up our Bible, and we don't pray, and we don't go to church consistently. What's wrong with that?
And to that point, instead of saying there's evil in that movie, or there's this, or this game, or that, whatever.
The games, yeah.
Instead, preach the gospel. Just talk about Jesus' love and Jesus, how you get to heaven, stuff like that. Let that do your talking, and don't say that's evil, that's evil, that's evil.
Yeah.
What it tends to happen is when you start saying all these weird things about stuff and seeing bad things and everything, people stop listening to you.
Yeah.
They stop listening, and then you can't give them the word of God.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I remember watching a documentary called Lord Save Us from Your Followers.
Okay.
The whole point of it was saying, instead of saying you're going to hell for that, be friends with people.
Yeah.
Friend them. Start talking to them.
And reach out. They'll listen to the gospel coming out of your mouth if you're friendly and you're decent, rather than trying to put them down.
Yeah, because if you come out and just start attacking someone, then you start telling them about Jesus' love. They don't. You mean he's going to love me like he just loved me? Telling me all this?
See, Jesus never did that with the ordinary people. He went after the church people, but that's another story.
But he sat down and talked to people. He had conversations.
Yeah.
He told them what to be in life and how to be themselves.
Yeah.
and go do this. He didn't blast them.
Mhm.
You know, I think
So-
that's what we need to get back to.
Yep.
You know, it's one of those things that turns a lot of people off whenever you're doing the opposite.
Yep.
Where you can, if you, I don't, you can stand up for your beliefs, but still be nice about it. There are things that I don't believe in that I know that are against the gospel, that I know against the Bible, that know what Jesus, God does and doesn't like. And I can stand up for it in trying to work on Congress and getting them to change it, voting, doing all these different things.
Yeah.
Instead of slamming someone and saying you can't do this because X, Y, Z,
Yeah.
and you're going to hell because of this. We have too much violence in this world right now. We don't need to keep adding to it, and then let Christianity be a joke at that point.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's
Yeah.
my personal-
There's a good verse that wraps it up. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood.
Exactly.
And we need to understand that and pray for those people and that type of thing. But at the same time, be sober when it comes to hearing things about movies and
Yeah.
is this a bad thing? Is there a demon under every rock? That type of thing.
And there
Be
are
sober
movies. There are movies that have agendas. We've talked about it.
Yes.
There are movies that have agendas.
Absolutely.
And we've seen TV shows that have agendas.
Mhm.
But not everything does.
No, it doesn't. Okay, Russell. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Thank you for that
Thank
review
you so
on
much.
Barbie, and we will come back with you in within the next couple of weeks with another real perspective. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week on The Perspective.